Today I'm going to talk about something radical, stepping into failure. You, my friends, are overcomers. That's right, overcomers. Overcoming means to succeed in dealing with some kind of difficulty or problem or failure. And like that song says, whatever you've been going through, it cannot get the best of you. Because whose are you? You're God's. And you are here to do great things. So that means you are an overcomer. And something that we do in Unity at this time of year is called the Burning Bowl Ritual. And we use it to release the errors of the previous year. And this year we're going to do it a little differently. We are going to use water to release those errors from the previous year. So what you are going to need is you are going to need that transparency paper that was given to you in the Christmas gift bag in December. And if you don't have it, can't find it, didn't get one, forgot all about it, it's okay. Just grab one small sheet of toilet paper. That will dissolve in water as well. You'll also need a pen or pencil to write down those things that you feel you're ready to release from 2020, or maybe even earlier. Today we are going to release those things that no longer serve us, are not for our highest good. And often when we look at those things that no longer serve us or not for us, we see those as failures or mistakes. What if we reframe that failure is bad by stepping into failure? You may be wondering, well, how do we do that? Simply by seeing failure as a celebration of being alive, of living, and of exploring. How often have you been shamed about failure? Shamed for failing? You see, we have been trained by our society to accomplish, to succeed, and that success equals happiness. My earliest memories from my childhood were around me being seen as the smart one, and I was the one that was going to be like the example of the family. That's a big burden for a child to have. But what that means is that during school, like if I brought home a B, for example, on my report card, oh my goodness, it was seen as a crisis by my family. You see, they believe that if anyone can get an A in a subject, then there's no excuse and no reason why I couldn't get that A. And often I would be ridiculed and told I could not bring home anything less than straight A's. Otherwise, there would be consequences. Whew, that's a lot, isn't it? But for us kids, we learn that if we admit to a mistake, make a mistake, or fail at something, that we're going to be blamed and punished. So what do? Well, we do everything that we can not to fail. And if that's not possible, then we blame someone else for our failure. No wonder we grow up to be adults who are averse to taking a risk, right? We don't like to ask for help, and we hate making mistakes. And it's because we become terrified of failure. The dictionary defines failure as this: the lack of success, the omission of expected or required action. Simply that. Nowhere in the definition does it say that if you fail, you become a failure, or that you are unworthy, or you are not enough. But somehow in our understanding of society and beliefs, we've bought into this myth that if we fail, we have become failures. I found this really interesting clip from Steve Jobs, and many of you know he's the founder of Apple. And this is what he says about failure.
I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn. You know, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far.
Wasn't that interesting? That in order to be a success, you need to be able to fail. So today I'm giving you permission to release this belief that if you fail, you become a failure, or it's something that you want to avoid at all costs. And I want you to create a new belief in 2021. And that belief is that failure is a gift. Charles Fillmore has this beautiful definition of failure I want to share with you. This is what he says. Failure is the inability through a lack of power to make a demonstration. But the second piece is my favorite. Seeming failure is often a stepping stone to something higher. A stepping stone to something higher. So for me, that's the definition that I use when I'm dealing with failure. That if I fail at something, if I got it wrong, it's okay, because it's simply a stepping stone to something higher. You see, failure is a lesson. And sometimes we fear failure so much that we don't act. And my thought is, if failure equals success, perhaps we might actually fear success unconsciously. But what if we embraced imperfection? What if we embraced imperfect action as simply growth, development, wisdom? Failing is the only way through which you are able to create something new. And here's the deal. Failure is human. It's normal. Everyone fails. Failure is the lesson, and failure is required for success. And failure is the only way through which we can create anew. So today I invite you to see the failures of 2020 as stepping stones to something greater. Now, if you are ready to release those things of 2020 that no longer serve you, then I'm ready to start the ritual. But I'm asking you, as you think of those things, to not think of them as something to get rid of, but to see them as the blessings that they have been, and to be released in love. So let's get started.